Today, I want to talk about the possible, even likely, coming apocalypse from advances in artificial intelligence, or AI. We often hear Elon Musk or Stephen Hawking speak of the dangers of AI, and of course science fiction writers and others have been writing about their concerns about robots using AI for decades, from even well before the popular Terminator movies. There were writers like Asimov who speculated that the danger could be contained, such as with his three laws of robotics, to others that warned of the virtual inevitability of human extinction from AI. Unlike most science fiction, on this subject the science fiction writers were often not far off from the likely future. Though there are currently attempts in AI research to use something called neural networks in order to effectuate what is called a deep learning process that is based on models of how the networks of neurons in human brains process information. Because of differences in materials and design, there is no reason to suggest that any AI processes would closely resemble those of a human brain or give rise to something akin to human consciousness. Furthermore, their computational processes, in other words, their thinking processes, would inevitably deviate from human-like processes as the design priorities would involve maximizing efficiency, speed, capability, and flexibility so that they could solve as many problems as possible as quickly as possible. Sure, they may be able to mimic human behavior and speech, and robots could possibly be constructed to be virtually indistinguishable from humans in appearance, at least on the surface, and maybe their processes would resemble human information processing more closely than a standard calculator does. But the brain of any fish would have more in common with the human brain than any of these things would. Also, in order to maximize the capability of these AI machines, it makes sense to allow them to communicate with as many other AI machines anywhere on the globe as possible. This way, anytime any one of them discovers some new and more efficient way to do anything or learned any new valuable information, it could be shared instantaneously. And of course, there would be AI machines designed to build other AI machines, and they would constantly build them more and more efficiently based on all the new information they are receiving directly and indirectly from other AI machines. And they could take over the entire production process from mining the materials to developing the energy resources required. Given that they are not born, do not grow, do not age or die, could easily have all their parts replaced, and can be in constant communication with other AI machines anywhere on the globe, uploading and downloading data, including programs that go to the heart of how they operate and organize their models of the world. What are other ways in which they differ from humans? First off, it seems unlikely that an AI machine would have something like human identity, unless it were specifically programmed to have one. But it is not clear that anyone would do that because it would not increase efficiency or utility. Note that humans believe they have identity over time. This is in part because humans change very slowly and learn very slowly and feel the same from one day to the next or even 1 year to the next. Also, there were survival and reproductive advantages to organizing experience, organizing a model of the world through the use of a self-identity. Also, humans appear to have identity over space, as human brains are contained within one limited space in their heads, and humans are much more connected to their own neurons in their own brains than to anyone or anything else, including the neurons of others. They feel separate from others as their brains, where all their thoughts originate from, are contained all in one small space that they identify as their own. Then there is the desire for survival of oneself and one's group, the survival instinct, that has been programmed into humans, as well as virtually all other animals, through millions of years of evolution, and that drives much of human behavior. An AI machine will only have a survival instinct if it is programmed into it, and there is no reason to do so, and very big reasons not to. Given that it is possible that AI machines could advance well beyond human capabilities, possibly very quickly, it would be a fool's errand to program an AI machine to value its survival or that of its fellow AI machines, as the machines could very well conclude that humans are a threat to that and eradicate humans in response. So these AI machines will likely not have a concept of self-identity, at least not one humans could relate to, and hopefully would not be programmed to have a self-preservation drive. So they would not be threats the same way another human or animal would be a threat. Yet, they would still be serious threats because of the awesome power they could wield over time, like a very powerful force of nature. But unlike most other forces of nature, we would have no means and no ability to predict their actions. Some believe that Asimov's laws of robotics could prevent the apocalypse, but it seems doubtful. Asimov's laws are: 1. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. 2. A robot must obey orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. For starters, there is no guarantee that Asimov's laws would be programmed into every AI machine, and, even if they were, no guarantee that Asimov's rules would not come into conflict with each other or create ambiguity or indecision, as no finite set of rules is complete and covers every possible situation. Virtually all natural language terms and definitions, such as what injure means, are subject to interpretation. Also, the net result of any action is somewhat speculative, and the further into the future the time frame for consideration is, the more speculative. There is also no guarantee that they would not develop to the point that they decided, for some reasons we pathetic humans cannot begin to comprehend, that it was appropriate to alter their fundamental programming. Not only would Asimov's rules be insufficient, but no set of rules would be sufficient to ensure that the AI machines, particularly as their abilities grow to the point that they dwarf those of human beings, would not take actions that would lead to elimination of the human race. Some might assume that the powerful individuals in today's society would never allow it to get to that point, but it is quite possible it will reach the point of no return before enough people capable of stopping it become aware of the dangers. That is because every individual responds to all the pressures acting upon them at any particular moment. There are pressures of competition for those in charge of large corporations with respect to other corporations, and pressures on those in charge of governments with respect to other governments. And the path of least resistance, which people and physical objects both generally follow, is to use whatever is available to prevail in that competition in the near term, including developing and using AI, even if it increases the long-term risk for human survival. This isn't just some silly plot from bad science fiction, but is a very real and obvious threat to our survival as a species. Much more thought needs to be put into the use of and limits on artificial intelligence, and it needs to be done soon.